The Book of Exodus, chapter 37. And Bezalel made the ark of acacia wood. 2 cubits and a half was the length of it, and a cubit and a half the breadth of it, and a cubit and a half the height of it. And he overlaid it with pure gold, within and without, and made a crown of gold to it round about. And he cast 4 rings of gold for it, in the 4 feet thereof, even 2 rings on the one side of it, and 2 rings on the other side of it. And he made staves of acacia wood, and overlaid them with gold. And he put the staves into the rings on the sides of the ark, to bear the ark. And he made a mercy seat of pure gold. 2 cubits and a half was the length thereof, and a cubit and a half the breadth thereof. And he made 2 cherubim of gold. Of beaten work made he them, at the 2 ends of the mercy seat. 1 cherub at the one end, and 1 cherub at the other end. Of one piece, with the mercy seat made he the cherubim, at the 2 ends thereof. And the cherubim spread out their wings on high, covering the mercy seat with their wings, with their faces one to another. Toward the mercy seat were the faces of the cherubim. And he made the table of acacia wood. 2 cubits was the length thereof, and a cubit the breadth thereof, and a cubit and a half the height thereof. And he overlaid it with pure gold, and made thereto a crown of gold round about. And he made unto it a frame of a handbreadth round about, and made a crown of gold to the frame thereof round about. And he cast 4 rings of gold for it, and put the rings in the 4 corners that were on the 4 feet thereof. Close by the frame were the rings, the places for the staves to bear the table. And he made the staves of acacia wood, and overlaid them with gold to bear the table. And he made the vessels which were upon the table, its dishes and its spoons, and its bowls and its pitchers, wherewith to pour out, of pure gold. And he made the candlestick of pure gold. Of beaten work made he the candlestick, even its shaft, and its branches, its cups, its knops, and its flowers were of one piece with it. And there were 6 branches going out of the sides thereof, 3 branches of the candlestick out of the one side thereof, and 3 branches of the candlestick out of the other side thereof. 3 cups made like almond blossoms in one branch, a knop and a flower, and 3 cups made like almond blossoms in the other branch, a knop and a flower. So for the 6 branches going out of the candlestick. And in the candlestick were 4 cups made like almond blossoms, the knops thereof, and the flowers thereof, and a knop under 2 branches of one piece with it, and a knop under 2 branches of one piece with it, and a knop under 2 branches of one piece with it, for the 6 branches going out of it. Their knops and their branches were of one piece with it. The whole of it was one beaten work of pure gold. And he made the lamps thereof, 7, and the snuffers thereof, and the snuff dishes thereof, of pure gold. Of a talent of pure gold made he it, and all the vessels thereof. And he made the altar of incense of acacia wood. A cubit was the length thereof, and a cubit the breadth thereof, 4 square. And 2 cubits was the height thereof. The horns thereof were of one piece with it. And he overlaid it with pure gold, the top thereof, and the sides thereof round about, and the horns thereof. And he made unto it a crown of gold round about. And he made for it 2 rings of gold under the crown thereof, upon the 2 ribs thereof, upon the 2 sides of it, for places for staves, wherewith to bear it. And he made the staves of acacia wood, and overlaid them with gold. And he made the holy anointing oil, and the pure incense of sweet spices, after the art of the perfumer. The book of Exodus, chapter 38. And Bezaleel made the laver of brass, and the base of brass, of the looking glasses of the women that assembled themselves at the door of the tent of meeting. He made the court, the south side southward, 100 cubits, the posts thereof 20, and the sockets thereof 20. And the hooks of the posts, and their fillets, were of silver. And the north side 100 cubits, with 20 posts and 20 sockets, and their hooks and their fillets of silver. And the west side 50 cubits, with 10 posts and 10 sockets, the hooks of the posts and their fillets of silver. The east side 50 cubits. The hangings for the one side of the gate were 15 cubits. The posts were 3, and the sockets 3. And for the other side were 15 cubits, with their 3 posts and 3 sockets. All the posts round about the court had fillets of silver. The sockets of the posts were of brass, the overlaying of the pillars and their hooks of silver, and the sockets of the gates of brass. And they made the vessels of the ministry of the tent of meeting, the altar of incense, the table, the pure candlestick, the altars, the laver and his base, and the vessels of the ministry, and the garments of ministering, and the anointing oil, and the sweet incense, according to all that Jehovah had commanded Moses. The sum of the things in gold in the work of the sanctuary was 29 talents, and 730 shekels after the shekel of the sanctuary. And the silver of them that were numbered of the congregation was 100 talents, and 1,760 shekels, after the shekel of the sanctuary. A bekah, a head, that is, half a shekel, for every one that went over to those numbered, from 20 years old and upward, 180,000 and 3,550. And of the 100 talents of silver were cast the sockets of the sanctuary, 1,730 shekels, and of the remnant of the silver was made hooks for the pillars, and fillets for them. And the brass of the offering was 70 talents, and 2,400 shekels. And he made of it the brassen altar, the brassen grating of network for it, all the vessels of the altar, the laver, and the sockets of the door of the tent of meeting. And of the brass of the men's offering, that is, of those that were numbered of the congregation, was cast the base of the laver, and the sockets for the door of the tent of meeting. And he put it under the custody of Oholiab, son of Ahisamach of the tribe of Dan. The book of Exodus, chapter 39. And of the blue and purple and scarlet they made cloth of the ephod, with cunning work, and of fine linen, the work of the ephod. And they wrought the onyx stones, and set them in filigree of gold in their settings, as Jehovah commanded Moses. And they made the breastplate of judgment, after the work of the ephod, of gold, of blue, and of purple, and of scarlet, and of fine twined linen. They made it. It was 4 square. They made the breastplate doubled. A span was the length thereof, and a span the breadth thereof. And they set in it 4 rows of stones. The first row, a sardius, a topaz, and a carbuncle. This was the first row of stones. And the second row, a turquoise, a sapphire, and an emerald. And the third row, a jacinth, an agate, and an amethyst. And the fourth row, a chrysolite, an onyx, and a jasper. They were set in gold in their enclosures. And the stones were according to the names of the children of Israel, 12 according to their names, were according to the 12 tribes, and they made upon the breastplate chains at the ends of wreathen work of pure gold. And they made upon the breastplate 2 rings of gold, and put the 2 rings on the 2 ends of the breastplate. And they put the 2 wreathen chains of gold in the 2 rings at the ends of the breastplate. And they made 2 rings of gold, and put them on the 2 ends of the stones of the ephod, on the inward side toward the ephod. And they put the 2 other ends of the 2 wreathen chains in the 2 rings, and put them on the shoulder pieces of the ephod, in the inward side of the ephod. And they made 2 other rings of gold, and put them on the 2 ends of the breastplate, on the side of the ephod inward, over against the other coupling. And they made 2 wreathen chains of pure gold, like the work of the first chains, and put them on the 2 rings at the ends of the breastplate. And they made the rings of the breastplate to be fastened on the ephod by the wreathen chains, above the cunning work of the ephod, as Jehovah commanded Moses. And they made the robe of the ephod of blue, and there was a hole in the top of the robe, in the midst thereof, as the hole of a habergeon. It had a hem around the hole, as it were of a woven band, that it should not rend. And they made upon the hem of the robe pomegranates of blue, and of purple, and of scarlet, round about the hem, and bells of gold between them round about, a golden bell and a pomegranate, a golden bell and a pomegranate, upon the hem of the robe, to minister in, as Jehovah commanded Moses. And they made the coats of fine linen of the ministering priests, of twined work, and the mitre of fine linen, and the girdle of needlework, of cunning work. And they made the plate of the holy crown of pure gold, and wrote thereon a writing, as Jehovah commanded Moses, holiness to Jehovah. And they tied to it a blue lace, to fasten it on the mitre above, as Jehovah commanded Moses. And all the work of the tabernacle of the tent of meeting was made. And the children of Israel did according to all that Jehovah commanded Moses. So did they. And they brought the tabernacle to Moses, the tent, and all its vessels, its clasps, its boards, its bars, its pillars, and its sockets, the covering of rams' skins dyed red, and the covering of badgers' skins, and the veil of the screen, the hanging for the door of the tent of meeting, the ark of the testimony, and the staves thereof, and the mercy seat, the table and all its vessels, and the showbread, the pure candlestick, and the lamps thereof, and the tongs, and the snuffers, and the basins, and the spoons, and the censers, and the altar of incense, and the altar of burnt offering, and all its vessels, and the laver and its base, and the hangings of the court, and the pillars thereof, and their sockets, and the hanging for the gate of the court, the pins of the tabernacle, and the pins of the court, and their cords, according to all their service, and the clothes of ministering, to do service in a holy place, the holy garments for Aaron the priest, and the garments of his sons, to minister in the priest's office, according to all that Jehovah commanded Moses. So the children of Israel made all the work. And Moses saw all the work, and behold, they had done it as Jehovah commanded, even so had they done it. And Moses blessed them. The book of Exodus, chapter 40. And Jehovah spake unto Moses, saying, On the 1st day of the 1st month shalt thou set up the tabernacle of the tent of meeting. And thou shalt put therein the ark of the testimony, and cover the ark with the veil. And thou shalt bring in the table, and set in order the things that are to be set in order upon it. And thou shalt bring in the candlestick, and light the lamps thereof. And thou shalt set the altar of gold for incense before the ark of the testimony, and put the hanging of the screen for the door of the tabernacle. And thou shalt set the altar of the burnt offering before the door of the tabernacle of the tent of meeting, and put the laver between the tent of meeting and the altar, and shalt put water therein. And thou shalt set up the court round about, and hang up the hanging at the gate of the court. And thou shalt take the anointing oil, and anoint the tabernacle and all that is therein, and shalt sanctify them, and all their vessels, and they shall be holy. And thou shalt anoint the altar of the burnt offering and all its vessels, and sanctify the altar, and it shall be an altar most holy. And thou shalt anoint the laver and his base, and sanctify it. Then shalt thou bring Aaron and his sons unto the door of the tent of meeting, and shalt wash them with water. And thou shalt put upon Aaron the holy garments, and anoint him, and sanctify him, that he may minister unto me in the priest's office. And thou shalt cause his sons to minister in the priest's office, and thou shalt anoint them, as thou didst anoint their father, that they may minister in the priest's office. Thus did Moses, according to all that Jehovah commanded him, so did he. And it came to pass on the 1st day of the 1st month in the 2nd year, that the tabernacle was set up. And Moses set up the tabernacle, and fastened its sockets, and put in the boards thereof, and set up its bars, and reared up its pillars. And he spread the tent over the tabernacle, and put the covering of the tent above upon it, as Jehovah commanded Moses. And he took and put in the ark of the testimony, and set the staves thereof, and put the mercy seat above upon the ark. And he brought the table, and set in order the things that were to be set in order upon it, as Jehovah commanded Moses. And he brought in the candlestick, and lit the lamps thereof, as Jehovah commanded Moses. And he put the golden altar in the tabernacle of the tent of meeting, before the ark of the testimony, and burnt sweet incense thereon, as Jehovah commanded Moses. And he put up the hanging of the screen at the door of the tabernacle, and he set up the altar of the burnt offering before the door of the tabernacle of the tent of meeting, and offered upon it the burnt offering and the meat offering, as Jehovah commanded Moses. And he set the laver between the tent of meeting and the altar, and put water therein, as Jehovah commanded Moses. And he set up the court round about, and hung up the hanging at the gate of the court, as Jehovah commanded Moses. And Moses anointed the tabernacle and all that was therein, and sanctified them. And he sprinkled of the anointing oil upon the altar 7 times, and anointed the altar and all its vessels, and the laver and its base, to sanctify them. And he brought Aaron and his sons unto the door of the tabernacle of the tent of meeting, and washed them with water. And he put upon Aaron the holy garments, and anointed him, and sanctified him, that he might minister unto Jehovah in the priest's office. And his sons he brought, and put coats upon them, and girded them, and put mitres on them, and anointed them, as he anointed their father, that they might minister unto him in the priest's office. And Moses did all that Jehovah commanded him, so did he. Then a cloud covered the tent of meeting, and the glory of Jehovah filled the tabernacle. And Moses was not able to enter into the tent of meeting, because the cloud abode thereon, and the glory of Jehovah filled the tabernacle. And when the cloud was taken up from over the tabernacle, the children of Israel went onward in all their journeys. But if the cloud were not taken up, then they journeyed not till the day that it was taken up. For the cloud of Jehovah was upon the tabernacle by day, and fire was on it by night, in the sight of all the house of Israel throughout all their journeys.